Hello, hope you are having wonderful day. And this is Zuzana Mukumai from Intercultural Relationships. Celebrate your differences. And today I am here with Corona Chermak, and we are going to talk about intercultural relationship. Hi, Corona, and I am so happy you are here with me. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm so happy to be invited to speak about intercultural relationship because I'm in one of them. So I think I've got something to share with the rest.
Okay, so before we dive in, can you tell us something about yourself and your family?
Uh-huh. So I am Corona Sermak. I am a mother of three children, and I'm from Tanzania. I'm married to Czech. I write children books. I'm a teacher, a kindergarten teacher, and also I'm a language teacher, Swahili language teacher at Masaryk University here in Brno. And yeah, I just love differences. I love Czech Republic. I love Tanzania, and I'm happy. I think that's what described me the best.
Yeah, that sounds so exciting, and I know you're writing books actually, and they're amazing in different languages. So I'm sure
Thank
we
you.
will get into it as well. But you said you're Tanzanian and you married a guy from Czech Republic. So how did you meet?
Yes. How did we meet? We met in England. I was in England studying law, and he was also in England studying. But we met at work, and we were friends, and then we started going out, and yeah, I'm getting married. Then I got married to a Czech guy.
Hmm. And so you met in England, and then you, at some point, you moved to Czech Republic because you live in Czech Republic. Did your husband visited Tanzania, or did you live in Tanzania for some time?
Yeah, when we met and before we got married, we decided that before we got into marriage, both of us need to see each of our families so that we can you can decide whether this is what you want to get in, or it's not something for you. So we
Hmm.
went we visited Tanzania with him before we were married, and we stayed there for a month or 3 weeks, and then I also came to the Czech Republic at least twice, and then after that we could see that we were happy both sides, and we were happy that our families got to know us before we could marry. And I think for me it was a very important thing to introduce him to my family because he's I think as an African, as a Tanzanian, this my point of marrying was I was thinking of marrying a black guy, maybe from Moshi, from Chaga tribe, from a Tanzanian, something which was more familiar to me. But sometimes love comes and surprise you in a beautiful way. And I fell in love with the Czech guy. Yeah, never in my life thought I would ever live in the Czech Republic. So, and it was beautiful. I felt happy. I felt strong love. I still love him until today. So I think it was nice for me to introduce him to my family before we could
Hmm.
go ahead with the wedding.
Yeah. And as you said, it was you marrying a Czech guy, falling in love with a guy from Czech Republic. It was very much different. That maybe if it was somebody from Africa, the differences are less. So not only that you are from two different countries, but you are from two different continents. So what were the biggest challenges for you as a Tanzanian being
Mhm.
with a guy from Czech Republic from Europe?
Yeah, it's true. Like these are okay. When you look at it, the Tanzanian and the Czech, these are two different culture differences. So the biggest one was that he is not a believer. He doesn't believe in God, and we know that Tanzania is a strong country which believes in God. So this was a huge difference between two of us. And you don't want to get into that relationship knowing that maybe tomorrow it's going to break you and it's going to put you guys apart. So we had to think in a way that, do we need to get into this relationship? But when you're there, sorry, but when you are there, you can see that both of us respect each other, respect the boundaries we have. He respect that I believe, and he support me with my belief. And with him not believing, I respect him. I respect his point of his not believing, and you learn why he doesn't believe, and you're not going. I'm not going to force him to believe, but I want him. If he wants to believe later, he can choose his way to believe. But of course, if you know about Czech people, then you know that the issue about believing is more about historical. There is a lot of a lot of things have happened in history that has made them not to believe. A lot of maybe there are wars and some economic crashes that happened within the society, which were caused by religion. So they come to a point that they don't believe anymore. They don't believe because they feel like this is causing a lot of havoc in the society. So while I come from a different society which believes, so we respect each other in a way that he respect that I believe, and I respect that he doesn't believe, and we live in this way, in a way that we make our family function.
Mm-hmm. And there is this one question I would love you to ask, because I know lots of women who have partner from different countries and who have different religion. On one is non-believer, other is a Christian or Muslim. It doesn't matter. How do you go about it when bringing up children? Because you mentioned you have 3 children. So do you bring them up Christians, or do you bring them up non-believers? How do you do it, and how do you agree with your husband about this?
Okay, we came to a point to agree that I go to church. And if I go to church and there's no one to take care of my children, I go with them to church. And okay, for people who does not believe, so what will they tell their children? That you don't have to believe. We live, you live the way if you think is the right way to live, yeah. And I live according to the way that I think is the right way to live. I go to church and I take my kids to church. And if I can take them to church, they stay at home. But later they will decide. We come to a point that they will decide whether they want to be Christians, whether they want to be Muslims, whether they want to be Hindus. But the values of a good life, the value of life is that we teach them to love, to respect each other, to obey their parents, to work hard. So we teach them those values that all humans, all people in any religion or non-religion communities have, the values of love and respect.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's great. Like, I'm happy to hear that you manage, because I know lots of couple, they have differences about it. And sometimes we think too much about it. Like in our case, it's actually similar, because I'm from Czech Republic. My husband is from Zambia. So we are also the European African couple. And of course, he's a Catholic. I am not a Christian. So I thought it will be a challenge when we have a kids, because like he's very strong Catholic. Even if he doesn't go to church, he wanted our son to be Christian and so on. So I thought we will have challenges, but actually as the time came and we had the son now, it's not a challenge at all. So sometimes I feel in the relationship we think too much ahead and creating possible problems in our heads, but then they never come.
Exactly. I think it's you get into the relationship, but there's some. I tell people there's some things that you need to know if you can tolerate them in this relationship. Of course, there's some issue, like for example, a guy doesn't want children or a woman doesn't want children. Are you going to tolerate that? Are you going to stay there without a child? So there are some issues that, of course, they need to be discussed in advance. But when it comes to issue about religion, I think you can talk about it and see what each couple, each of you want or expect. But when the children comes, you will see that it can turn to be a completely different journey. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. There are some issues which we need to discuss, and often with the intercultural relationship, for example, we meet somebody and the man says he loves the family. But then also it's important to understand what does it mean to love his family in his country, in his context, because if somebody says I love family, it can mean different things for each of us. So I think it's
Yes.
also important to go deeper and to discuss these things before making big decisions.
Yes.
And I wanted to add, because the cultures, as you said, they are quite different in Czech Republic and Tanzania. So what were the most surprising culture differences which maybe surprised you as a Tanzanian now living in Czech Republic? I know you lived in London before, so maybe the shock was not that big, but I'm sure still there were some differences you had to manage.
I think one of the biggest culture shock I had is the amount of sweets and amount of sugar things the Czechs eat. And until today, I'm still trying to get used to it. And I'm kind of scared of my children because I feel like there's too much sugar, there's too much sweets in everything. In everything they eat, there's an excuse to give sugar. When they go to school, they get sweets. There's a birthday, they get sweets. After food, there's a dessert, which is sweets, yogurt, which is sweets, cakes, sweets. So it's very, very, very difficult to minimize the amount of sweets children have. So this was even for adults, yeah, it's the way of life here. People eat, they have lunch, and then they have something sweet. They have some cakes or some dessert, which is sweet. And having kids with this kind of lifestyle, I'm terrified. I am scared, and no matter how much, as a mom, you try to control it, it's impossible because they go out, they meet aunties, and they meet friends. They always get something, and sometimes you even hear people saying that this is homemade, domaxi, homemade cake, but it's still sugar. It's still made from sugar, which is still there. So to be honest, this is the most scaring thing for me. Yeah. The other thing, yeah.
Now I want to ask, how is it in Tanzania?
In Tanzania, we don't eat a lot of sugar. We don't eat a lot of cakes and sweets. I think we get a lot of sugar from fruits. You know, the mangoes are so sweet. The pawpaw are so sweet. The watermelon are so sweet. So children don't eat a lot of sweets. Sweet, like a sweet or something like that, it's a big treat. Though now people have started. People have birthdays and they make big cakes. Now that lifestyle, which we see in Europe, is now slowly coming into Europe. I mean, coming into Tanzania. So, but when I was growing up, sweets were really a big treat. It was coming during Christmas or Easter, or in a very special moment, not during birthdays. It's not there. It was not there. The fruits were so sweet. We get all the sugar things from the sweet, from the fruits. Or sometimes you can feel that in Tanzania people will eat more sweets in the morning when they make their tea. Most of the breakfast comes with tea, and the tea also has sugar. So they get the sugar in the morning when they have breakfast. But during the day, there are no food which is sweet. Even in Czech Republic, there's even sweet rice. People will cook some rice and it's sweet. Anyone? Okay, God, is the sugar around here? Is it not enough until you have also rice which is sweet? So that's for me is a cultural. It's a cultural shock, and I'm still trying to get used to it. But that's the lifestyle of Czechs. I cannot change it. Yeah, I cannot change it. I decided to live here, and I have to live with that.
And maybe if we look at it from the side of your husband, like, what do you think was the biggest culture difference for him marrying a Tanzanian lady?
For him, I don't. Oh yeah, for him, I think the biggest culture shock is that, which is for most European. For we African, when we speak about, I have a sister, I have a brother, I have a grandma. We include even our cousins. We call them brothers and sisters. So I think I remember one time I took him to Tanzania and I showed him my grandma. And I said, this is my grandma. And then later we went to a different house and there was a grave. And I told him, oh, this is my grandma here. And he was, your grandma just died within a minute and you already buried her? I said, no, the one you saw is my step grandma. And this one is my real grandma. So for him, until today, he cannot comprehend, like, why would I tell him that was my grandma, while he was my step grandma. And I say, well, these are two details you European wants, but I call them, we name them as grandma. It's a step grandma. We name it like that. Brothers and sisters. Our cousins, we call them our brothers and sisters. Or sometimes even it's a person that is far from the family, and you call them a brother or a sister. So for him, this was a big culture shock. But I guess I don't know what other culture shock he had. Maybe about coffee, that Europeans also drink a lot of coffee. While when he went to Tanzania, there was barely no coffee he had to drink. So that was also a problem for him. Maybe that was also another culture shock.
Okay. Yeah, with the family and calling everybody brothers and sisters, grandma, it's same in Zambia. And now I still feel like even after 6 years with my husband, he every time mentions some new brother or sister I never heard about. So now I know that it's no big deal. Maybe it's a cousin or somebody related bit farther.
Exactly.
We don't include them in the immediate family. Or even examples like we have a small neighbor, she visits our son. So last time I asked her how many brothers and sisters she has, and the response was,
Mama lazima avae miwani. Mama lazima avae miwani. Mama lazima avae miwani. Mama haoni. Lazima avae miwani.
Adelka is not happy, but I'm sure we will finish soon. So I was saying, I asked my small neighbor how many brothers and sisters she has, and she responded 12. 12. So living here, I know that probably it's not 12, like as we call them, real brothers and sisters, but maybe cousin or friends. So it's
exactly.
Tanzania.
Exactly. And even like for example, the other culture shock is about walking. Czech people likes to walk. They can walk forever for nothing. Okay, for the beauty, not for nothing.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you about this one because I know we discussed it in some of the Facebook discussions, and as you say, when a Czech person sees a hill, we need to climb it. So how was it like? How did you feel about all this walking when you moved to the Czech Republic?
When I came to the Czech Republic, I think first time they took me to Prague for a walk, for a day, for a visit, for a walk, like to see the place and admire it. So and we walked almost the whole day from the time we arrived. Then we were just walking and walking, and I was thinking, where are we going? And what are we going to see? In the beginning, it was beautiful, walking beside the river, and the environment was nice. And then it started becoming like repetitive. You see the same things, You just walk from left of the river, then you cross the river, and then you cross again. And, you just walk like meandering, like that. The place is amazing, it's beautiful. But I felt like it was too much. Like, why am I want to walk, sit down, enjoy a cup of tea, coffee. I don't drink that much coffee, but I want to enjoy a drink, talk to people, and catch up with everything that is happening, and then we move again, and then we can go home and and relax. But here we were just walking all day, and we came home late. Yeah, it was just walking, and for me it was not fun.
We just love hiking, and whenever we have time, we would love to go to nature. And that's actually what I miss living in Africa, because it's much more difficult to go and hike. So how is it in Tanzania? Do Tanzanians hike as Czech people do, or
no? Tanzania, I would say Tanzania are like Zambians. The same kind of lifestyle. No, like now I like I like hiking, I like going for a walk. Like, what would you do in Europe? Those are the activities you have to do to keep yourself sane and to have activities in your life. Otherwise, you need to go and see nature. It's beautiful. Nature out there is beautiful. And I think the advantage in Europe, they have put all these marks, where you can walk and what you can see. So you're kind of curious. What am I going to see? What kind of birds? They give you some like some information of what is available in that forest. So it's nice. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to do. Now that I've learned, but before I didn't see. I was thinking, why? Why should I?
Yeah, that's so interesting. And did you ever had some differences or like challenges with your husband about either this difference in like the way we approach nature or any other culture differences? Like, did you have some misunderstandings, which would be interesting to mention also to other women to pay attention and maybe to avoid the same mistakes?
I think the biggest mistake, the biggest culture problem is that, for example, we Africans always we are entitled to support home. Like sometime you have to pay school fees for your younger brother, you have to send money for your parents, maybe if they're not well, you have to send money home for some to support, wedding or birthdays. Some things are going on there, and you have to send money. Well, European they don't have that. And this is an issue between me and my husband. Sending money to like, our family need money. We have got 3 children, and we need to financially support them. So why would you send money home? So to solve this problem, I have to work and get my own money, so that when I get my own money, I can use it the way I want. But if you kind of sit and wait, and like I don't tell my husband, okay, now at home we've got a problem, now we have to send money. I try to avoid that, because I know for the European that is a no-no. Of course, if there's a big problem and we really need to support, he's happy to support. But in Tanzania, there's always something going on. Always something going on that you need to send money. You need to support them somehow. So to avoid all this misunderstanding, which I could see they were arising, because of course I have a brother who is at university. I have my parents who have retired. Of course, my parents are not very dependent. They're very hardworking. Yeah, if they ask for help, very little. But still, you need to be there to support them whenever they need it. They need help. Sometimes they will tell you, okay, our health insurance is almost over, and we don't have money at the moment. We are expecting maybe to have money maybe in 2 months, but we need to buy the health insurance. So you have to send money for the health insurance. So these are the very big cultural problems that if you have got an African spouse, you need to know that these people, it's a cultural thing for them to send money home. You cannot avoid that for any reason. They have to send money home sometimes. Of course, sometimes when it's too much, it's a problem into the family. But
that's actually what I wanted to ask about, because you are completely right. It's a challenge. So many of my clients who have a partner from Africa, that's what they encountering. Even me and my husband, even he has small family. We had some differences because this is completely different in our cultures. So how do you find the balance? That it's, as you start saying, like, the problem is when it becomes too much, and when the pressure from the African family can be so big. So how do you find the balance between supporting your family, your parents, your brothers, sisters, and how you support your the nuclear family, the partner, the children with you live?
What I do, to be honest, okay. If there are some very important problems we need to support, I tell my husband, okay, we have to support this, because it's something very important, and if we don't support it, then we are out of the family. If it's something that I feel like, no, I don't need to support this, yeah. So I tell the person who called me and say that maybe let's say a cousin called me and said that, I don't have a school fees for my child. And I say, well, I also have 3 kids, so I also don't have money to support you while my kids are like they're struggling. So I'm ready to tell people that I can support this, I cannot support this. There are some things that I judge them myself. Can I support them? Can I not support them? If I can, then I don't have to tell my husband. I work hard. I work in different projects, So whatever money I get, then I send, but I don't have to tell my husband. So to avoid to avoid problems and to avoid misunderstanding. So I advise that for the African people, your family comes first. That your wife and your children, they come first, and then after that you see some people they've got their parents who are not well. They really need constant support. Then you have to discuss with your spouse on how to go about it, and both of you have to agree. If it's necessary that you have to send their money every month, which I feel like if you have to send money home every month, it's straining the family. It's going to give a very bad impact on your own family. But again, it's a matter of discussing you and your spouse, your husband and your wife. You sit and discuss. And when I was in England, before we had kids with my husband, we had a joint account. We still have a joint account. So whatever we had agreed, every month we put here maybe let's say 20,000 Czech crowns in this account, and that will be for the family. The rest of the money which is left, you do whatever you want to do with it. So with this way, we were able, like, if I send money home, it's my own. If I buy something, it's for my own benefit. But we had agreed that this amount of money will go to this bank account, which is a joint bank account, and it goes to the family to pay the bills and to cater for the children. So it's a matter for a discussion between you and the spouse, and see what is the best to go about it, so that the family is not drained so much financially.
Yeah, thank you, Corona. This was very insightful, and I'm sure it will be helpful for so many women. And just maybe to summarize, like, so basically you said it's important to support the immediate family, the wife or the husband and the kids, and then also being able to say no sometimes, and to assess like what's really important and what is not important, and to realize that he has the family to support, basically.
Yes. I'll give you.
Yeah, I wanted to say I love the idea about the shared account, that you both contribute like equally, or say like you both contribute to the family account, because often I encounter lots of examples when it's the woman who is from Europe, she's like leading the household financially, and then I think it's not good, because it will create like really differences in the relationship. So I think it's really important that both in the couple contribute to running of the household, and making sure that everybody has what they need.
I think I'll give you an example. There was a time a relative called me that they need money. It was almost near Christmas. They need money, and I knew the person was in problems for a long time, and I completely believed that this person maybe truly need money. But I also didn't have money. So I honestly told him, I don't have money. Myself, I'm going through issues. I have my own projects that I need to put money into it and everything. And then later, after a month or two, I realized this person wanted the money so that he could buy a gift for his children. Like, so being here struggling, if I had sent the money, so the money would just go for him to buy gifts for his children. Like, really, if you don't have money to buy gifts for your children, you tell them, I don't have money to buy gifts. You don't go around and borrow money from people from people abroad, or from people anywhere, so that you can buy gifts. So you need to be able to say no in some circumstances. Some people may take advantage just because you live abroad. They think that you just collect money from a tree. But we work hard. 24 hours you work. I go to work with my children sometimes. And I'm constantly with my children. Whatever I do, whatever projects I do, I have to think, who am I going to live with my kids with? I have to pick them with me. It's terrible. And then you just sit. Someone just send you a text message. Can you send me money? Well, where do you get this money? Yeah, where do you get the money? We struggle for this money. Yeah, so I want people to understand that we work hard to get the money, and we want them to work hard. So and they should know that school fees is coming. For those who are always asking for their children's school fees, or for some kind of support, they should know Next year or this year, there's school fees, there's this. Plan yourself, just like anybody else. Plan yourself so that you can be able to pay for all these expenses.
Yeah, I'm sure it's challenging, but thank you really for sharing a number of tips which are very helpful. And maybe let me ask you the last question. Like, what would be your advice for maybe like women who are from Europe and they marry a partner from Tanzania or Africa? So, what is what they should be aware of? What can be the biggest challenge they may face?
Yes, so if you're a woman from Europe and you're getting married to married, or your relationship from uh, abroad in Africa, uh, get into the relationship if you are truly in love. Do not get there just because this person is so cute, or I'm looking forward for the mixed children. Get into the relationship if you're truly in love, and everything will flow nicely. Of course, there's this thing that, oh, African men, they don't work this, they don't do that. I've seen African men working, taking care of the children. I've seen African men supporting their families so hard. But if you find yourself into a wrong relationship, don't come out there and start making all these mixed families and all these cultural families like a terrible thing. So get into any relationship, whether you're going to get married to white, to black, to yellow, to blue. Get there when you're truly in love, so that things can perfectly work, and you don't disturb the rest of the world. You don't give hard time to your children. It's nice to have mixed children, so as it's nice to also have children who are not mixed. But get into
Yeah.
relationship when you're in love.
Yeah, I love that. And you hinted on the point, like on the stereotypes. And actually, it's so important to understand the culture, because then if there is a stereotype, like you mentioned, African men don't support the families. And in the newspaper, we always hear divorce stories, right? We don't hear about the men who are wonderful fathers. We don't hear about the men who work hard to support the families. And it's so important to find out how is it in reality, because I think in reality is that in Zambia, or I'm sure in Tanzania, it's the same. The man who doesn't support the family is not a proper man. So having it twisted and thinking it's fine that the woman supports all the family and the husband is, I don't know, playing a pool, that doesn't work. That means you are in the wrong relationship.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. You are in a wrong relationship. Either you got into yourself, you got in there yourself, or you were just in your own fantasy, yeah, and you happen to be there. So we have to stop this. If you're going to get into a relationship, get in there when you are in love, and you will see things are going to work perfectly.
Hmm. And I also love that you mentioned the word fantasy. And we really need to differentiate if we are in love or if we are living in some fantasy, some like dream relationship that we found this guy in an exotic country, and like to make difference between the two, because it's two different things, and the relationship can work only if you are in love and really go to the relationship in a serious way.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you so much, Corona. And before we finish, like you mentioned that you write books and you do so many interesting things. So when our listeners are listening and watching this interview and they want to check out your books or the work you do, I know. So you teach Kiswahili, where they can find you.
So I have all my books available on Amazon. I've written this one, which is called Rooster's Voice, and then I've written this one, which is called Grandma Pipi and the Roses. So all of them are available on Amazon, and also the Swahili one is Sauti ya Yogo and Bibi Pipi na Maua Waridi. So both of the books are available on Amazon. You can buy on any Amazon. If you're in UK, Amazon UK, I don't know, Czech, Amazon German, like that. And also, but they're also available in Tanzania, in some of the bookshops, Elite Bookshop. And also, for those who are in Czech Republic, they can buy them from me. They can get the book from me. And they can also get in touch with me, Corona, Cermak, all social media. They can get in touch about learning Swahili. We still have online classes, so they can join the class and learn this beautiful Swahili language.
Oh yeah, and I love the book. I know we have never met with Corona. We just know each other online, but I have been buying the books for my friends in both of the languages, and I hope I the new book I need to get as well. So once I am in Czech Republic, I'm sure I will visit you in Brno, and I
It will
love
be
to
nice.
what you do. And also, I will put maybe one of the links for your social media under this video so people can find you. And thank you so much for coming for the interview. And I'm happy we finally made it because it was difficult to organize. I'm happy you managed with your daughter. That's not an easy task. So thank you so much, and it was very interesting.
Thank you too. Anytime when you want to, when you want me to share some experience, I'll be happy. We are here to help the families who are like us, so that things can be easier and our children can feel comfortable in their families. So
Yeah.
thank you
Yes.
very much for this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. And maybe we will have a continuation of this interview at some point. So have a great day
Yeah.
and see you soon.